Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of It's a DARMAR stream. Today I have one very talented man here that I have been following for years. His name is Mike Andrew Nash. He's from Australia and he worked on Zero Horizon Down and many other big projects, but he's the most known for this project. And I've been following his work for quite a while. I'm super impressed with the quality of it. Hi Mike.
Hey, it's a pleasure to meet.
We finally
Very,
made
very nice
it.
introduction.
You like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
introduction?
Hey,
We finally meet and we finally talk about your insane work. I'm so happy to have you on my stream.
yeah. I haven't done one of these before. I'm kind of a bit shy before, like way back, and kind of turned them down when early on. Then I was like, fuck it, man, might as well be doing these. And I kind of I guess I just really keep away to myself, but I should be showing more of myself and getting out there, and that's why I started doing tutorials and things like that. And because it's one of those things where once I get working, I kind of get into that zone where I kind of just work and tune everything else out. And so yeah, it's my effort to spread the love and yeah, just really be more social. I
You
guess
chose the
when you
right
do
stream. You chose the right stream to do that.
yeah. Well, it is one of those things. I'm not sure. Do you have much of a social life? Do you find, do you get stuck once you get working? It's kind of like it's that it's almost like addictive thing. Like my eyes, I get zoned in and like I get really stuck into projects, and so when I get stuck in, I'm just like I tune the rest of the world out, and then I have these big parts of where I just socialize, and then I guess I'm I don't know. I don't like to put labels on things. Yeah, but people say you're an introvert and all this
Yeah.
because I think we change, right? I think you can very much be anything you want to be. It's just that willingness and the mindset to do it. So
So you totally
mm,
zone out everything. Let's talk a bit about that because I know that people would like to hear us. So you zone out everything and you just work when you are working.
yeah, as much as I can. I think it's something you need to do, right? You get stuck into something so you can have that laser focus, and it's it's one of those things where it's kind of like it's almost like the more you sit down and you work at something, it's like that rewarding thing, and it kind of boosts your dopamine. You're writing it and you're writing it until you show it or you finish it, and then you kind of like it's almost like a little bit like a release after. I'm not sure. It's like a little come down effect, like
Mm.
it's kind of like I don't know. Have you worked on anything, and then when you release it, you get that
That rush
release,
of
the
energy.
endorphins.
That
Yeah,
happened to
yeah,
me
yeah,
until 2 years ago. It happened to me. Now it's not happening. I'm dead inside from the industry and everything. So you know how hard is the industry. I mean, it's super hard. But
yeah.
but you can see on your work that you zone out because man, quality of your surfaces are next level. I remember when I found your profile and I saw you made it at Armor. It's maybe
Mm.
one of your most famous works that made you like pop out on internet. I remember looking at that and I was like, this man has concentration of a lion, literally. If he can pull out this kind of surfaces and this kind of quality, so
Yeah.
so now when you tell me that, I understand completely why do you zone
Mm.
out. And
Yeah.
I wanna ask you about that. How did you develop that skill to become so good at creating such a high quality surfaces and feeling of designs? How did that go during your career?
I guess it's kind of like it's that never give up type of thing. I grew up with a lot of learning difficulties. I was a pretty premature baby, and so I was delayed. And so everything I've always done is like this extra amount of effort that I've had to go into to do things. And so for me to learn something when I was little, I'd have to like really sit and like push myself. And so I guess it's really like translated over. So if I want to get a surface and get something right, I know I'm going to I'm going to fail and fail, but there's a point where I make room for, you can't sit there and do that for client work where you're pushing. But for personal work, I push and push and push. I push to the point where there's like a breaking point, and then I hit it, and I want to push more. So it's like, because I want to learn what I'm capable of, and so like with you see like the ZBrush sculpts, they've got certain shape and things like that, and I never thought when I first started doing it in that type of, using Dynamesh is really hard. It's not easy to use and get clean meshes from it, and that creativity, it's very much like sketching. So and plus you're trying to get form and neatness and intricate details in there, and you're trying to preserve those details while you're working, because it's kind of like if you had a bit of clay, you could easily mess up the details that you have already. And it's kind of you have to push. You don't realize that in that type of working in that fashion, you could push it a lot more than you think. And so it's kind of if you keep working at it, you find out that there's almost to Dynamesh. There is a limitation, but you can almost say that there's no limitation, because it's kind of like based on how far and how hard you want to work at it.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like if you did subdivision modeling, right? If you went in and you were to do subdivision modeling with just polys, there's a limitation unless you had a concept, like a pretty detailed concept to work from.
Yeah.
You could, because then you can lay it down and plan it. You got to plan it with subdivision modeling. You can't just go in and do things where you want. But with Dynamesh, you have that possibility, but then you have to be really neat at it. And so it's kind of like mixing the two things. And when I work, I just push and push and push and see what I could do. And it's that never being happy with it that makes me push. And so I've always had that thing in me, like if something kind of itches at me, and I'll just kind of explore, and then I don't know, I'll just come back to it. And like when I work on a lot of things, I'll do a sketch, say in ZBrush, and I do the whole thing, and then there'll be a part, and I'm like, I don't know what to do here, and I'll just come back to it and then work it, and I still might not know what to do, and I'll just keep going back to it. But I won't. Before I used to get stuck in and trying to solve it. You can't let things come to you when they come to you, and it's kind of like you're almost psyching yourself out, or there's a part in your brain that's holding on to something, and you got to let go of it. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's complicated. Like if you've ever worked on something and you're trying to do a detail and trying to solve something, and you're trying to you oftentimes people go into a behavioral pattern. And so I will do my behavioral things and my habits for client work. My non-habit thing, like I don't want to do habits for my personal work, because personal work, there's a lot of habits that you don't want to do. You want to keep pushing it because it's like you've trained your brain to do it.
Muscle memory, yeah, it happens with brain also. It's insane how much I know when I look at my work, how much repetitive surfaces and stuff like that happen. But for me, it's how I did it. One professor sold me a trick, and he said when you want to go totally away from Darko or yourself, you just take your pen with your left hand. It was freaking liberating when I did it. I mean, it's hard when you use the hand you never used.
Well,
but
I use the mouse.
You use the mouse, okay?
Yeah,
you're on a higher
level. The mouse doesn't quite work.
Yeah.
Well, in ZBrush, right, I'll use the mouse because I know the pen hand is going to be really focused, and then the mouse isn't very focused, and so you can do that. But that's another good trick to do the left hand. The thing is, I would imagine you'd be really uncoordinated with the left hand. It'd be hard to lay anything down.
Yeah, but that's that fine line, as you said. Same with the polygons and Dynamesh. There is a fine line between them, like how to push each. But same with design. I always try to say to people that design is a very messy thing, and people tend to forget that because they try to make it crisp. The design comes from emotion, from your soul, from your brain, and it needs to be expressive on the paper, and people tend to forget that. But when you take your left arm, you can polish it with your left arm. I mean, if you're left-handed, then okay, but if you're right-handed, it's impossible. So the only thing you can do is make it expressive, and that's why design becomes good for me.
Yeah, design is a very chaotic thing, and I think people look at the end result and they think, oh, that's just like you've done it, like
Yeah.
just like that. And no, it's usually it's a mess. It's you have to embrace the chaoticness of it, and so that's why I think I the thing is I with kit bashing I agree and I don't agree with it. I'm on two sides of the fence with kit bashing because when you use a kit, you're going to produce what's in the kit. But with kit bashing, it's good to use if I don't notice you've kit bashed. If that makes sense to you.
Yeah, yeah.
If I know you haven't kit bashed, yeah. But if I know you have, you failed. Like because I want to look at something new, not something you've just taken and done this. Like I want to be able to be like, I maybe can just see it, just a little bit. Have a really clever use of it. And so, like the old ships, you would never know they kit bashed them. Yeah.
I completely
I think
agree with
that's
you.
what.
Completely sorry for interrupting, but this is very, very sensitive
right.
topic for me. I really agree with you because I'm looking at our station today. Everybody is kit bashing. I mean, kit bash, okay, it speeds up the work, but man, I can see it's Vitali's kit. Man, I can see it's this, it's that. For me, kit bashing is destroying design. I mean, it speeds it up. From my experience, it's 80-20. If you design 80%,
Vitali is very, very clever. He's a very clever man. He got in there first, to be honest.
Very smart move.
Yes, he's very smart. He got in there, he commercialized it, and he would have made a killing from all this, the initial run up from all the kits and people buying it because he was the first one doing it. And everyone's doing it now. So
yeah. Also, it was a branding because Vitali is insane. I'm trying to bring him from stream. So Vitali is insane designer, and his style is very, very different than other people. And when he created the kit, it was a very smart move because everybody who uses it, everybody is literally designing Vitali, and you see Vitali's work everywhere over the place, and you're like, man, that's Vitali. That's Vitali. It was a brilliant marketing move. So respect for that.
It was. Oh yeah, he's very smart. He's someone I look up to. That's for sure. And I think he's one of those people where I'd like to say I'm pretty focused, but he's super focused and he's got his head on straight and things like that. I think people should take a page out of his book. That's for sure. He time management is like on point and things like that, and that's something I'm getting together. It's my time management, getting my goals down for the day, and how you write things you want to achieve and make sure you achieve them, get them done, or put them on to the next day, things like that. Stuff I used to let kind of slide before, and so. But I got mad props to him. So
same here. Vitali is Vitali for me. Like he is insane quality. But I wanna ask you one question about your designs that I think everybody would like to hear. I'm showing your infiltration unit design, and it's super polished. Like this is retopoed and everything, which makes it even more cool. So I want to know, how long does it take you to retopo everything, or does somebody else do it for you?
So with that, that was way that was way back, what, 9 or 10 years ago? I can't remember now, but I didn't have any retopo stuff. It's all done by hand. I had to do it by hand and just go through it, and I guess if there's a video of it, the making of, I have it on my YouTube. I could get some images and show them here.
Okay.
But for me to do that, I had to rebuilt it in Exercise, good old trusty Exercise.
Yeah.
And I still use it now. So.
Yeah, that's just insane. Really, that software is insane.
It's really good for polymodeling.
Yeah.
I wish they continued it, to be honest. Like,
me too, man.
It's just, have you used it before?
I tried it, but I was a big Maya user before. I don't know why I chose Maya. Maya for designing in 3D was always horrible. Like, I think it was Modo is now quite good, but I use Blender now. And with box cutter and everything, to be honest, Blender for me is number one when it comes to concept designing. But modeling, I will be honest, doesn't handle very good modeling. Modeling, just we are talking.
It's like poly modeling, like sub D.
Yeah.
It's a bit finicky.
Yeah.
I was going on about the edge slide tool. You had to click it and click move again.
GG. Yeah.
No, too many clicks.
Yeah, there
like,
is.
But I can't just slide. I just want to move it and then move the next one.
I agree. Blender is quite strange community because some simple stuff for me, for example, I always praise the Blender because it opened my eyes with box cutter. Have you tried box cutter and hard ops?
I've seen it. I've talked to Jerry. He does it. Yeah. He's Jerry
Perkins.
He's
Jerry
Perkins. Yeah.
My man. Yeah.
Have you used it in anything personal, like personal projects? Or?
Yes. I've been using it for last year, also for personal projects, for clients. I used it quite a lot, and it's insane. I will honestly tell you, it's insane. They now added the curved surfaces and stuff like that. But I played with I will show you some stuff after the stream. But I played later with modeling. Like I was like one step back. Let's try modeling and everything. And I was like, well, man, Blender is not that good at modeling. Like for concept art, broken geometry, perfect. But for modeling, not so good. Also doesn't handle polygons that good. So I was quite surprised. But when I look at you guys using soft image, I was like, what the hell? This software is brilliant. Like brilliant.
Yeah. It is. It's definitely, well, working with it. There's a with polymodeling. There's just something to it. There's an easeability of working with it, and so you can just. Like the tweak tool is just brilliant. It's like you just move it and have the magnet on. You can it's all in one little menu. There's something to it. I think maybe because you know how it's one of those things you've used it for so long, it's like the habit. I've gone to Maya and I've used Maya, but I used to use it for in studio a little bit. But I ended up learning XSI. I was working in a games company at, I think, Pandemic Studios, and they closed down. And they kind of like when I first started learning, I was like, "What is this?" I didn't want to learn it. I hated it. So but I had someone there. Kind of, it always helps when you have someone to hold your hand through it, and so. Yeah, I just realized, and I started working with it, and I just found the poly modeling just really agreeable, if that makes sense, and just I kind of because I've used Max as also, and so it's just out of Max and Maya. Yeah, I find it for poly modeling just really good. So I think I don't know. I'm probably going to continue to use it for poly modeling, but
smart.
I think. It's just easy, right? For subdivision modeling, it's kind of if you don't need to change your workflow, you don't need to. You can't really because say you got things like box cutter and stuff like that. It's kind of similar to is it similar to like Moi and stuff like that?
Most similar to Fusion 360. I mean, it's similar to Moi, but most similar to Fusion 360, but much faster with many tools, with many add-ons. It makes it super fast, like super fast.
Yeah.
And I love that about it. Like it's freaking insane how fast you can do stuff. And also that's Jerry did a great job, and I have to praise him for that. And I hope that the curved surfaces will get even better soon. He is planning some other stuff. But speaking about Softimage and Blender, Jerry always gets angry on me because I don't download the newest version. Because I'm always like, this is working for me. Why would I even download the new version? So I completely understand you. He was like, man, I have always problems with pro guys because you never want to update because you're just using the tool. And I'm like, well, if it's working, why should I change it?
That's what I mean. I still use, ZBrush 2018 because I don't know. And when I upgraded before, it messed up the UI that I was using, and I was like, man, I can't be bothered fixing this thing, and just for like something I'm not going to use, whatever updates in there. So it's one of those things you don't always need that latest update. If it's kind of that saying, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Kind of comes into play there. So, But I'll show you so I've got these images.
Let's do it, please.
I had some files and I went and cleaned up my PC today, and
No.
you know when you clean out your PC, you put stuff away. I had it, and I might have. This is from the new project that I've been working on, but all right.
Whenever you are ready,
so
we are ready.
Where's this? I'm just trying to find that window.
The share screen you have next to the heart, two squares. Every time I'm talking with somebody on Skype, everybody is confused. I'm confused every time I speak with a Skype. Like,
yeah,
Skype, please update that.
I think this is
next to the heart.
So I'm going to share. So which screen am I sharing? You got the right screen. You see a bunch of images here.
Let me just. Yeah, there is a bunch of images. Can we show it to the public?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay, let me just move it. Here it is, guys. You're seeing some magic from Mike.
So I have done a breakdown of this. This was like the first concept. This is when I started doing Dynamesh. And that is the next one. That was the ZBrush concept, and
this
you can see how it's got just the ideas. It's pretty shit, to be honest.
To be honest, it's insane.
that was like, well, the new one I've done, the helmeted one. That was a spiritual successor to. It's on my ArtStation. To this one. It's called the helmeted one, and so this is where I've. You can start seeing, I pretty much I was test rendering it, having a look. This is Keyshot. And so, I'm rendering it off, and that was
insane.
A head.
Insane.
So that is a bit more tuning. And you say, I have to get all the edges. Like modeling like this is a pain in the ass. It's really difficult because you're trying to get everything round, right? Because all these edges need to be rounded up.
Yeah.
And so, because I've watched people like Vitali, he models in a different way. He goes and he does his low poly and then starts adding detail. So he doesn't model in it's almost like we've got two different modeling styles. He kind of lays it down and he adds detail and he subdivides it. I lay things down and then I kind of tune the shape and then go back and forth. But his way is like very much working your way up, and to do this, it's kind of what you have to do. You have to build something like that. It's kind of you have to tune it all and keep adding detail and revising, and so it is to achieve something like that. It's really tricky. It's not for the faint-hearted, that's for sure. Like for people who. Yeah,
this is insane, Mike. Like, I love this work of yours so much. This where his face is and where his eyes are, that details. Like every time I see it, I'm like, how much time did this man put into this work? Like,
well, that's one of the experiments I wanted to push it because I wasn't happy with doing a lot of my designs. I wasn't happy with like the quality I was achieving, and I wanted to see what I could do. And that's like I pretty much like this type of detail. You see the kind of detailing around here. For this design, I invented all that on this type of styling. So I have I developed a design language for myself.
Yeah.
And so I pushed it and pushed it and pushed it. And so if I was to do this again, it would be quicker because I would know what to do from the start, that design language. And so you can see in the lower part down here, I'm trying to figure out what the hell to do for the shoulder. It's just a bit of a clunky mess. And this is where I should have gone back into ZBrush and concept. So now if I was to do this again, which I plan on doing another helmet for the helmeted one, so you could show that on the ArtStation, but the helmeted one is pretty much I would concept and get it down to about 85 to 90%. So then I'm just purely going in XSI and rebuilding it and making sure, because I'm more confident now with doing really detailed design in ZBrush, and I can push it quicker and refine it, and I'm more confident with this here. I wasn't very confident. You can see it's not very confident shapes. if you translated that over to polymodeling, it wouldn't translate, and that's why it didn't translate one for one. So that's why I would doing it again, it would be much quicker, and it is really it's a tricky thing to do, to do that stuff. I've got wireframes, but yeah, it's really tricky to do.
This is like this is insane, like insane.
Yeah.
You gave inspiration to me. You will now know this because I never spoke with you, but you gave me. I did my character for my book Inside 44, and when I saw this mesh of yours, I found it on internet. I was like, I need to retop on my character from the beginning and make it, and I worked on that for 1.5 months almost, and it paid off. So I want to thank you for that, for posting this and for me seeing it. Like I always say to people, because many students who are watching this and new artists, I always tell them, take some longer projects, because short projects where you just sketch and use, I call it like that, because it's fast, you will never develop anything. And as you said, and thank you for that, you made your style thanks to this project, because you were going back and forth and feeling it.
Yeah. I definitely had to push it. And I didn't even realize I could render like this. Like, I didn't realize I could even render like this, texture like this. But I pushed it, and it's like, okay, if I'm going to do it now, I have to, like, after I finished the whole modeling thing and I was rendering in Keyshot, it really inspired me. I'm like, this looks really good. I should probably like texture it. And then I put a lot of effort into getting this profile, getting that color, getting every little thing perfect, because I want it to be flawless, because I want to be able to look back 10 years later almost and be like, I knocked it out of the park. You did. Yeah. Because with me, I have that thing of like, well, if you're going to die one day, you want to be able to look back at your work and be like, well, I didn't do a bunch of fluff, I did a bunch of masterpieces, and that's what they used to do back in the day. They had people who did masterpieces. That's what they call them. And I think more artists should do it, because you appreciate the work so much more, because like this is rendered in a render engine that is really old now, and like for me to do that, I could do this so much easier in Octane, because I've used it now. I'm like, I've done some new stuff and I'll show that, but it was so easy to do. Like it was so easy, but this took like 15 hours to render a frame.
Really?
So yeah, and it constantly crashed. 15 to 23 hours to render one frame, because you got to get rid of.
How big was
that's how big it is. It's not very big. It's like that big.
What the hell?
It was. I didn't have a very good render piece. This is why I bought. This is why I always, when I buy a PC now, I buy dual Xeons, because I'm like, I just want I want power, because I had to suffer so much rendering this one, so I always just want power now.
You want freedom. You want freedom, so your creativity boosts and it doesn't stop you. When I take my model in Maya, for example, and I open it and it starts tick tick, when it's turning and stopping, I literally want to kill myself. Like that's death for creativity. Death for creativity.
It wanes on you, and it frustrates you. You don't want that. So. But yeah, these renders, I'm keen to do the new one, and I want to print it and everything, because my goal was to get something like this printed and painted all up. If I can get it at that quality, I don't know if there's a market for it though. It could be like making something and there's no market for it. But you kind of, if you maybe push and push, you can make that market for you. There's a lot of people wanting to spend money on really cool things, and if you do the quality, maybe someone will buy it. But it was definitely a project. I really pushed it, and I learned a lot to do it. So that's some of the background thing, and I didn't really do too much in that, and that's just I think decals from the background. But yeah, like this is, I think that was the first render of doing it, and I was like, this is looking pretty cool. And yeah, it's kind of I always see with the yellow parts, these are like important parts to me. the yellow areas,
Why so?
like important things. It's kind of it. So for the viewers looking at it, they're kind of like, well, it's either for me, it's almost like insulation, a switch, like a protective thing. I have certain things where, yeah, the eye thing's pretty funny. It's like an eyebrow, right? And so with this, I wanted to see what I could get away with putting on a helmet, with how far I can make someone look at someone's face and not take too much notice of what's there, but some notice. I'm trying to, so that direction of, these nostrils, there's little nostrils here, right? That's nostrils, right? So, but they're not like up where they are, but I've done like some nostrils here. So I've placed, and there's a tear duct, and then there's, I'm trying to, this part here was tricky. This layering here, that pissed me off so much, this thing, where it just sat against it. I'm like, that looks too clunky. It's just like, it's not, because if you look at it, it's like, it's not streamlined. Like the back here, right? The helmet, it just flows back. It just goes nice and round, right? And then you got this and it just breaks. And this, for me, I had to marry so many little bits. Like I had to put some insulation parts, and just, because you can't just put that there. You need to layer it. You need to, when things are on mechanical thing, like structurally put together, they've got layers, a lot of layers. You've got all these little things sandwiched, like looking at a phone sandwich with detail. And so when you build up those layers, you build up the believability. And so that's what I learned doing this. And so when I do designs now, I'm like, well, I have to just layer it up enough, create enough believability to make it look like even if I get, so if you look at this image here, like there's nothing there, right? And that's kind of the thing you contend with. You're like, well, I've got to add a layer here, and then add another one, and maybe another one, So I'm layering and layering and layering, hoping that it will blend this kind of obtuse structure that's just sticking out. And so that's where I came up with that shape language to kind of highlight the borders. Because you can imagine if this panel was just laid on top and then there's no border around it, it kind of feels like it's just on top, But then when you layer like a border, like some sort of structure to keep it in place, you can imagine you can pull it off, and then it has all these things that are kind of, it's insulation, it's kind of fastening parts that you have intricately placed all over it, or it could be machine placed, and all these things that are literally impossible to place by your hand, but by machine it's possible. So you're trying to do all these things and trying to think of like, well, can a machine do that? Can a person get in there if they were going to like take it off? Like, so with this, I have that whole rear shell comes off, and so this kind of like slides back and goes like that, and then unlocks it all. And so there's all these and there's little secondary vents at the back here where you can like close by hand. It's like just all these little hand fidgety things. There's a battery in the back here. You can kind of plop it off and on. There's a lot of little tactile things, and when you build up your tactile details and the layers and things like that, you make it believable, because it and there's one on the front here, that will pull away from the face, and there's like a little thing you can change in there, and there's another one here. There's a little
form
administration
follows function,
for
that's
drugs.
it. Form follows function. That's why your design is so good, because everything is functional, and your mind perceives it when you look at it immediately. That's why your design is so successful, and I love it. Like I love it that everything is functional. This is insane to do. It's super hard. But I think this now is the moment to mention that you become a professor recently, and that you're giving lectures to people on internet. So
Well, you there? Hello? Hey, you there?
So I'm here. So the question, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, the people can learn a lot from you, because you have a lot of experience, you push the boundaries. And I think it's the moment that we tell them where they can learn from you, because just this explanation from
that's
you
right.
is insane.
That is right. Yeah, I am doing a Patreon and I do Gumroad. So I have been doing, this is something I'm doing on Gumroad and Patreon. I haven't released it on, I'm not sure if you can see my screen.
Yeah, I see your screen.
This might crash, but I've had to decimate this all down, but I can show you. But I've been doing the promo stuff for something new. But I wanted to do just a tutorial for. I was going to use Moi and stuff, and I was like, I'll just keep it with subdivision modeling. So this was I covered doing a concept in ZBrush, and then do a rebuild in polymodeling, and so it's like the result from it. So, but yeah, there's various test renders and.
So this kind of stuff people learn on your Gumroad or Patreon. They can learn this kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I'm still yet to do the lighting and rendering part and just covering things like that. So, but I've just been. That's why I've been doing learning Octane and pushing that and figuring out all the little quirkiness around that. But I'm not sure if let's see if we can get Octane going.
So
might crash.
Octane can crash from time to time, but no worries, we can turn it on. You switched now to Octane, as you told me. You were a Keyshot user, now you're in Octane. Why did that happen?
Quality. It's just so much better. Like the quality.
That's it, quality, guys. That's it.
It's just quality and like Keyshot. How expensive is Keyshot to buy? It's pretty pricey program with every upgrade. So
yeah,
and with Octane, just pay for a membership, and it's just and plus I get to kind of I guess when I want to change things, it's a little bit easier. I can import things and change them. And with Keyshot, you can do that, but Keyshot is pretty good. It's been good to me. I used it a hell of a lot to I think I rendered the vest in that one. I'm not sure if you want to show that one. I will take screen share off.
Okay. Let's do it.
Is the vest? You can see the vest in there.
Which one? This one, Bomberman concept or vested series? Okay, yeah, this is the work that I told you I saw on internet, and this blew my mind. Like literally blew my mind.
Really?
Yeah, this blew my mind. Like when I saw this, I was like, this is insane level stuff. And like I was taken by it, and then I read that you did it for a movie, and actually
I didn't.
This wasn't for a movie, but they hired you because of this for the movie, for the Korean one, if I remember, right? Yeah.
I'm not sure. I think I'm not sure if they for that one or just the other work, but maybe it could be that. But yeah.
But yeah, when I saw this, I was like, what the hell is this? So, and I was really blown away, especially with this part here, the shoulder pad. Like this was for me, this is highlight of design, like insane.
Where are you? I think it's. I guess it's got to catch up.
Oh yeah, it's catching up. I'm showing the shoulder pad. I'm showing the shoulder
I got it.
pad.
Yep.
With the shoulder pad.
I was proud of that shoulder pad.
You should be, because this is like some high quality design. Look at everything's working with each other. Like immediately when you look at the image, like this is the piece I look at, and like it's spot on. Like the design can't get better than this.
Well, see that shoulder pad, that intricate triangle part, and then it's kind of layered and pulled out.
Yeah. I
actually did that. I was like, I need to push myself with this part here. I need to learn something new, like a layering technique, and that's what I did. I pushed it. I think I redid that twice because I was like, laid it down, and I was like, nah, I got to push it again because I want something new. So
yeah,
that's probably why I like it, because I looked at it and I was like, it's predictable. That's me, right? And that's what I've done before I would do, or it's something easy. Like, when it's like easy, whenever it feels too easy, I'm like, nah, I'm not happy with it.
Yeah.
So, and then I'll yeah, I'll change it. And that's probably why you like it, because it actually wasn't easy to get the result.
There is
But
extra love. There
it's
is extra love in it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you can see that. You can see that. But now, when you mentioned when it's easy, it's bad. It's crazy how in design you always have to tax your brain and your soul. Literally, you're all the time pushing yourself to the edge if you want good designs. And I don't think in any other job it's like that. I don't think in anything like, because
It doesn't. I'm not sure if it feels like that to us. Maybe.
I think we are just numb to the pain. We are just numb to the pain from it. Like, you get used to it
Well,
after some time.
I think it would be a biased thing to say, really, our job is harder, but I think you can say, I think for the arts and doing concepting where you're pushing things and it's constantly crashing and giving you grief, yeah, maybe you can say that it is harder. I think because you're always pushing it, you need to. It's like going. Do you go to the gym? Do you work out?
Yeah.
Do you do any weights?
Yeah, all my life, like, I've been working out different sports. I love sports, and I compare it all the time to my design.
Well, it's like yeah, exactly. It's like now as you get older, you learn to tune. Like, so every day I wake up and I stretch. It's the first thing I do. I stretch. I get up and I stretch. And if you're not flexible and you haven't, like, if you're tight in certain areas, you're gonna like cramp up and just kind of like turn into like a bit of crap essentially. And like, so when I stretch, I'm like, this is really painful, and I have to endure that pain. And so when it's the same for the gym, like I'm lifting the weight, I'm like, I can probably lift it slower and longer and just a little bit harder than I think. And so you push it more. And I'm like, well, is that pain? What is that pain, right? You question it. Like, the pain is just something that's in your mind. And it's like, what, do you give up? Well, no, you go for more pain. So
no pain, no gain, as Rocky says.
Yeah, exactly. It's that pain threshold. You need to keep pushing, and pushing. And the same thing for design. And I think I got into the habit of, I was working a lot and I did a lot of ZBrush stuff, and I got good at the whole ZBrush thing. And I was like, okay, and I was getting a lot of client work and stuff like that. And I realized I kind of gave up. And so that's why I went off of a little while and no one saw me. I kind of just gave up in a weird way. And because I had a lot of, my mobility was suffering. Like I had a really bad back, and like I had to essentially what I had to go away and do is like rebalance my whole body. It sounds weird.
Did you have a burnout when you were speaking about that, or it was just a physical pain and stuff like that?
I think I did have burnout pretty much, because a burnout, like bit of both mental and physical. And so, but my body, I didn't realize I was just like ignoring. Like I got 2 pop discs from. Ooh. I would have got them anyway because my parents got them. And so what I realized is that I had I'm not sure if this is going maybe a little bit of a side topic, but it's probably a
Don't
topic
worry. It is a very important topic for our people. And same problems I have. I will tell them when you finish. So, okay.
So, all right. So I find, so if you ever think about your feet? It sounds weird.
I think all the time. I will tell you why I think all the time about my feet. Yeah. It is weird, but I have diabetes since age of 13. I'm on insulin, and every time I'm thinking if everything's okay with them, because you know that one of the consequences of diabetes is neuropathy or the feet problems. And I always think about them, and I go and check them every 6 months because of that. I mean, I'm super healthy except for the burnout from the work that I do. But I do.
Do you stand up?
Yeah, quite a lot.
Yeah.
I set the timer and I get up every 45 minutes for 5 minutes and walk, because I feel, as you said, I feel freaking stiff, and I have problems with mobility also, and it's starting to affect me. I'm 30 years old now. It didn't affect me before that, but I'm starting also to stretch every morning last year.
You ignored it before. Yeah,
of course. Yeah. Or the body was fresh and it could handle it. I don't know what was happening.
Do you have any, like, do you have a fallen arch or 2 fallen arches? Do you have arches in your feet? Do you have flat feet?
No. I have a perfect feet because I check it. I
Yeah.
had flat feet when I was a kid, and I remember
Oh,
moving the glasses and the marbles with my feet, so I get normal ones. Yeah,
yeah. See, I had one flat foot, and
yeah,
so I would and the thing is, it's like I used to lean on one leg, and so and not actually push my pelvic in the right position. And the thing is, a lot of times people have their chins out, for work when they're sitting on the computer, their
yeah,
chin is out, and you need to like keep your chin in. You keep like it's even going down to I'm not sure if you have heard about it. It's called mewing, and your tongue position is really important to actually keep your tongue in the 2/3. So when you say go sing, you say sing. That's where your tongue should be sitting all the time if you're not talking.
yeah.
And so it holds your neck into place and all these things that I didn't realize. And even my eyesight, I'm improving my eyesight also. I know I've seen you wear glasses. It's possible to actually improve your eyes
Yeah.
if like I used to not open one eye enough. I used to not I used to avoid a direction and not look in certain directions because the eyes tight and all these little things that I've realized that I was ignoring before, which eventually you burn out because the body's not functioning, and I'm leaning on one foot, and I have I have two pop discs. I have a
Sitting all the
squinty eye,
time, sitting
sitting
all
all
the
the
time.
time. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Uh,
So I actually make it my actually when that little pain thing I try and stand as long as I can. I try and not sit. Does
do
that
you have
sound?
a
So I
table
have
that moves up and down? Do you have
yeah,
that? Yeah, yeah.
electric one.
Smart. IKEA
Yeah.
one. Yeah, smart. I'm getting that soon.
You
I
don't get
hope.
the windy one. That would just be a pain in the ass.
Yeah,
You've
yeah.
got to wind it up. So, but yeah, that's what I've been fixing my body and then my mind and stuff like that, and then getting all back into it. Really, it's one of those things where I think people don't realize your body is the thing that's going to carry you through getting it done. And so a lot of I didn't realize how off balance I was. I put so much effort into. I wear like even toe shoes. Do you wear toe shoes?
Yeah, yeah. Of course.
They're,
But
they're like what? So it's like walking out. When you walk outside, it's kind of like walking with your feet. And so
yeah.
and if you jam your feet long enough in a shoe, your feet actually become the shoe shape. So it's one of those things where like all these things that you don't realize. It's really important. Just get standing and moving.
I worked last 3 years, 16 hours a day, last 3 years. And I decided because I wanted I need to make my name in the industry, and I started working on my personal book project. And around that time, I realized that I will suffer quite a lot because of that. And then I started investigating alternative medicine. And I think this is very important subject that you started because many artists that I meet suffer from something. And it's not a joke.
Yeah.
It's especially mental problems, like mental health is insane in this industry because everything is face-based. And then I did many alternative things in last 3 years. And to be honest, they kept me sane, like literally sane. And I recovered from everything, the problems that I had. I meditate still every day, or at least 40 minutes every day. I meditate. It keeps me super, super good. I stretch, I supplement, I use herbs, I use a lot of stuff. And now that you mentioned this, it's insane how much this industry taxes your body. And you don't even feel it because you're so much in love doing this that it keeps on going for a long time, and until it's time to stop and the body is like, hey dude, stop it. So it's crazy. And thank you for mentioning this because I think people need to know about this. Yeah.
I think you do, and don't think you're stuck with whatever disabilities or feel that I always felt like having a flat foot is like almost a disability because that saying is like flat feet don't run, and they don't run. Flat feet don't run, and so you're not a functional person. If you're not functional, you're going to get like screwed up, and I got screwed up, and so just a lot of people should be taking notice of their health. Like you can look in the mirror and like go, how my eyes looking, or something like, am I squinting one eye? Am I squinting to see things? Am I straining? Or because your body's just meant to work like effortlessly. And it's kind of like what I find with the whole eyesight stuff. It's almost like I spent my whole life trying to see when I can already see, if that makes sense. I've like squinted my way through life, and I didn't realize, I'm not sure if it's all for all people, but I've noticed a lot of people who have bad eyesight, they squint and they have it's just an unbalance. And so once you start rebalancing and you just stretch and you're like, well, am I tight in this shoulder? Am I tight in this leg? And stretch it out every day. Keep on stretching. It will take you forever to get loose, but you will eventually loosen up your body and it will reward you. And that also another thing I haven't been doing though is meditation. I think I finally have to get around to doing it. I'm doing everything else, but not the meditation. I always found it hard to do.
It's insanely hard to do. People think always tranquility and stuff like that. Trust me, you are in for a wild ride. It took me 6 months. I was angry. I was irritable. I was like, my friends would joke about me and they would tell me I have PMS all the time because the old stuff started popping out. I had visions of the old stuff and it was everything but pleasant. And I was always expecting tranquility, but something made me push through it. And I went, and when you start seeing benefits, around 4 months I started seeing benefits, you never go back, because we are made from energies, and that's what connects our tissues and everything. I mean, I always, when somebody asks me, well, how are we created from energies? I always tell them, listen, man, if you were just meat and brain, then tell me, why are you attracted to a certain person and you're not attracted to other certain person? So that's the energy. The soul is attracted to other person and it pulls it down. So meditation, it's really good for every artist because it relaxes you later and it gives you more creativity, prana and so on. But stretching, as you say, is also very important. When I was going to that alternative medicines, checking everything out, the woman that was leading me, she would always slap me on my head, you know, as a teacher, and always say, stiff body, stiff brain, Darko, remember that. And I remember I was so stiff.
Oh, that's a good one.
I couldn't raise my leg, like literally how stiff I was. And before that, I was super stretched because I used to train kickboxing and I could put my leg behind my neck. And when I started stretching, soon enough, I was like, man, I'm starting to feel better and better just from the stretches. Yeah. I lowered the weights and other stuff. Yeah. It's crazy.
So that's a pretty good one. So what was that saying?
Super stiff body, stiff brain. And it's really
stiff
like
brain.
That. Yeah.
Because brain and that's where the meditation comes in.
Yeah, it relaxes, really. Yoga, meditation, energy healing. I tried many things because I was super curious. As a designer, I'm super curious to know everything, you know. So yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, I have to definitely get into meditating because I think that's the last kind of frontier for me. I'm stretching and stretching, but my mind, you know how you just kind of go over things in your mind and you're trying to, like when you're designing, you keep thinking about that thing you've done or something else, and you're I'm not sure if you heard a guy called Eckhart Tolle before.
Eckhart Tolle, living in the moment.
Yeah. He's you watch some of the stuff and you think this is not going to really be helpful to me, but then it is. It's like he comes up with stuff that you're like, now I can see now.
The problem with him is that kind of stuff that he preaches are insanely hard to master. They're insanely hard to master. Like it looks so easy. Same as design. It's insane how much that spiritual stuffs and design interlap with each other. You know, like as we spoke about your piece on the side that you were trying to connect it with other small pieces. It's same with his stuff and spiritual healing. Something that looks so easy, it's super hard. It's super hard.
Because it's behavioral, right? You've grown up with it. Like your parents put that into you, and society and all that crap and all these things and behaviors, and you've got to behave. It's like have you heard of like the no fap generation, right?
Yeah, I read about it, but I'm not on it.
But like that, see, I'll be honest. Like I've had issues with that, and so because it's when it's a behavioral thing. What I realized when I was doing it, because I'm stopping it now, and I think I made a post on Facebook about it, and everyone just jokes about it, but it's a pretty serious thing. It's equal to being like a heroin junkie, and so when when you it's a behavioral thing. It's like, oh, if you're stressed out, you go and do it, and you don't realize that you're doing. People do that for sex and everything else, and so it's getting your whole everything, your mind in control and pushing it into the right things and realizing that you can, the things, achieving those things. It's not as hard as you think, but you can make it. You can make it harder for yourself, right? By thinking you can't do it, and that's what I'm teaching now with all the Patreon and Gumroad stuff, and it'll teach a lot of mindset stuff, and that's why I was away for a while. I was getting everything and getting my whole mindset into a thing that's more straightforward with working with, because I used to be pretty mindset wise pretty cluttered, and always wondered why, and it's just it was a lot of things that I had to get going, and I definitely probably I'm going to do that whole meditation thing, really sit down and do it, because I'm doing everything else but that. But,
listen, when you start, my advice now, because somebody's listening also this and they will also try it. My advice is to find a meditation teacher, because it goes much easier. When you're alone, you can get lost in thoughts, and the feelings can get overwhelming. And especially people who have problems with health, they have a lot of berry stuff, because it goes like that. But the positive, when you have a teacher, somebody leading you through it, it gets much easier, much calmer. Also, you know what's happening, and he tells you. And there are everywhere around the world teachers. Of course, you need to find a good one, like for everything, even with the design. And the meditation gives you prana. The prana is a life force of ours. When you get that prana, when you get that prana, things start to balance out. Everything starts to balance out in the system and starts to recover. So my advice, if you want to start with meditation, find the meditation. I need to tell you that, find a meditation teacher, because it will help you a lot, so you don't get lost.
Okay. Yeah, it's you kind of. What do you mean? What do you mean exactly by getting lost? Is that
it's same like
you mean
like with design. When you're designing something, you all get to lost often. Like how do I solve this? How do I do this? How do I do that? But the problem is that with meditation you get lost in yourself, and that's the hardest thing, when you get lost in yourself. And for example, I saw people that had a depression, a really hard one, and they start doing meditation, and depression becomes 20 times worse, and they get afraid. So that's why everybody needs a teacher to go through that kind of stuff easier.
To guide them through it.
Yeah. Same as a mentor in design.
Oh yeah, that's the helmeted one. That was meant to be the spiritual successor to the infiltration unit. Yeah. And so that one, it's very much, you can see how the forms have almost like melted. And that's why I call it helmeted. It's almost like
I like that.
Helmeted. Yeah. So it's like bringing what I got from the other one and kind of just like melting it down and fusing it a bit more. And so I wanted to push it. And it does have, I think I've started on the ear, and I've done some of the forehead, but I went to do something else. But yeah, that one will be a pretty tough one to do, but I think I should do it if, it would make it maybe a really cool print to do that one.
Have you done ever 3D printing?
No, I haven't. I was going to buy one, but I don't know. I try and not get too many things, because I tend to, I know if I get a 3D printer, I know it's going to really distract me. And so, because I don't know, it's hard for me, like, well, like it's kind of, 3D printing is a little bit of a hobby, I think, for most people when they're first starting it. So it's one of those things where I'm just like focusing on getting tutorials out and getting some, developing a bit more of a workflow that's, a new workflow, I should say. I want to build up that workflow.
It takes a lot of time, to be honest, 3D printing. I did it in last year, printed quite a lot of stuff, but it does drain you, because everybody is like, that's a click of a button and you do it. No, with cheaper printer, it's not. So yeah,
it's not that easy, is it?
No, of course. I thought it was like that, but then you have to position.
No, I know it's not.
But your work, I think, would be very, very good to see. Like this would look crazy on the desk. So
see, with that, I don't know. See, that would be hard to get that to Dynamesh in one mesh, because you would have to close it all up, and that would be difficult. I don't know if it would even handle like you could Dynamesh it and close it all up, but it would lose detail. I've tried. Oh, sorry, I've tried reprojecting it, and it doesn't. I would have to rebuild that all and get it into clean geometry, and so I wanted to print some ZBrush stuff, but I don't think I can, unfortunately. So
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
you can try and separate it in pieces. I would cut it here on the leg, on the arm, and here on the head, and then Dynamesh it over it. Because with the one piece, that's not gonna work. The zebra's gonna crash, or you're gonna crash. So yeah, I think
Yeah,
you can do it.
I would have to. Yeah, I'll try that. I'll see how that works. But yeah, I'll do another screen share. Yeah, here we go. I don't know what am I gonna show. I've opened some stuff.
Okay, you can share the screen. We have 10 more minutes, guys, so we are wrapping it up in 10 minutes or more if Mike decides to show more. And hit the subscribe button if you haven't still. Okay, here it is. Oh my god, this is crazy. We are definitely not finishing in 10 minutes.
It's a weird crocodile thing. Yeah. I haven't shown any of this stuff. But yeah, this stuff's really old now. It's like 2017, I think. But yeah, definitely improved at doing these. But yeah, this is where we got. You can see how it's just a bunch of parts.
How many polygons does this crazy creature have?
I don't know. I don't. You can't count after this. It's just because with ZBrush, it will just handle it, and so. But you can see, close up and stuff. It's
oh my god, so many pieces. Like, so how did they approach you for Zero Horizon Dawn? How did that go?
Well, they asked me to do one concept. I think it was the Harvester one, and I did that, and I think they really liked it, and. I think they only wanted one, and I was like, well, we just want to see. And then they kept coming back, and I think it was over a 2.5 year period, they kept coming back, and I was like, okay, this is good. And I was, I was pretty happy with the rate, and so I think they said, oh, you're too expensive, and I kept to it. So it's one of those things. It's I don't know, these companies, man, they've got so much money. They should be paying the artists well. So
you know Edon Gurazzi, the designer Hard Surface. Edon. Yeah. He always says, man, if they can pay for an actor that much money, why they can't pay for us when we are the front line of the whole movie? Like everything that we do is in the movie.
It's true. It's on the front of the covers. You know, I did a suit and it was on the front of the cover. I did this. It was on the front game cover. I did something for the Horizon. So, that's going to sell copies, and so I should have actually got more money, to be honest. So, it's one of those things you actually design a language for them, and it's pain in the ass to do. It was really tricky.
You're leading the project technically. It's on your shoulders. Like it's like that. Like Giger for Alien, everything. Like I mean, that should be paid.
But, the people don't credit. I think I like working for clients and stuff like that. I'm pretty I'm cautious now after not being credited, the right way, and so I get working for those companies makes me think if you don't really state how much you're worth, you're not going to be happy working on it, and so a lot of people they underprice themselves and they kind of corner themselves, and so you should you can always get another job, or you can just make your own money, like make tutorials, make kitbashes, or do YouTube. You don't have to work for companies, and so print your stuff. And I think this is where I think hopefully companies will start paying artists more, because it does sell games.
It's starting to change now. It's starting to change now. But speaking about when you said you can do other stuff. I mean, with your quality, you can do other stuff. People need to raise their quality. The better quality, the more stuff opens, And I've seen many designers, I've worked with them lately, that would underprice something. And then they would get frustrated because they underpriced it and their quality of the work would drop during the work. You know what I'm speaking. And I would always tell them, listen, when you make a deal, if you want to be a professional artist or professional businessman or professional person, doesn't matter. You need to finish the deal. Doesn't matter that you made a bad deal, but that's a lesson for another time. You're not allowed to trick the other person because you made a smaller price. That's your problem. It's not the client problem. It's your problem. And that's one of the biggest advices I want to give in 2020 to people, that when you make a deal, you have to do it. You have to do it. It's your problem.
And if a client really wants you, they'll probably negotiate with you. Yeah. Let's be honest. Yeah. Like they will. They were like, oh, you know, what can you go down to? You know, like if a client, I had a client contact me the other day, and she's like, can you do this monkey thing? I'm like, well, what? It was. I looked up the company, and it was like a emoji company, and they recently made millions and millions of dollars. I know they've probably made $20-30 million, and just out of stupid emojis. And so, and they contacted me, and they gave me no brief, nothing to go on. No, think what quality you're looking for. Just a picture of another artist's monkey riding on a unicycle thing, sci-fi unicycle. And it's like, well, can you do a monkey? I'm like, well, what's the monkey doing? What does it need to do? Is it a sci-fi monkey? Yeah. I had no idea. And so, and like I gave a range. Oh, it's too expensive. I'm like, well, I have no idea what you want from me. So yeah, I gave a broad range. I'm like, well, if you give me more of an idea, and that's what I mean. Like I could have underpriced just to get the work. And I'm like, I don't want to spend. In the back of my mind, I don't want to do this job. Like, because it sounds stupid, and you don't even know what you want, and you're probably going to frustrate me in the process, because I know you haven't really planned anything when you've approached me. And so if you haven't planned when you approach me, when I start doing the work for you, how much more of a nightmare are you going to be? I don't know. Right. And
there is that psychological effect always with the client. There is always that client, you get it one per year, that's paying you really good. He's paying the money, but he is asking you tasks that you really don't want to work on. And you're like, that's always, there is always that. It's a fine balance, like everything in life. But as I said, it's strange with the people who have a lot of money when they come as a client. Some of them can lowball you. It's insane. You ask yourself, what the hell is happening here? I wrote this on my Facebook 8 months ago. I had a billionaire contact me, not a millionaire, billionaire. He presented, he presented himself, who he was, everything, and I was like, he contacted me on Instagram, and I was like, is this real? Because he didn't have a blue tick next to it, but it turns out it was him. It was him, and he offered me to work for him for 1 year to design something that he wants to launch. And he will pay me by me being in his magazine, having photo with him, but I have to pay for the trip. And I was like, man, I'm not gonna work for you. And I wrote him email where I wrote him, people hire me for what I'm good, not for cheap, and you have the money to pay it. He never ever again contacted me. But that's the respect. You need to respect yourself. I mean, I don't need that kind of work. I don't need you, man, for that. If you wanna, let's work and make something amazing. You have the money, I have the skills, let's do it. I will do my best 200%, but don't do this.
It's amazing that what people, I don't know, art is something that people, it sounds funny, right? When you're dead, they're like, oh, it's so valuable. But when you're alive, nah. Everyone probably realizes now they probably should have bought Sid Mead's paintings and gone to his place and asked for his paintings. But now,
Sid Mead was quite famous for his life. He was very, very famous. I don't know.
I mean, especially now though, right? I bet you the prices would have skyrocketed.
Of course.
I'm sure he would have. Yeah.
Of course.
But I think, the whole internet age, I think it will change it. It will make it possible to make people more money, because we can market ourselves and we can do things to generate more money and things like that. So I'm hoping that it will change, and because look, the games companies, they're making more than billions
per year, billions. It's insane revenue, and artists are the ones that are creating all of that. It's not an actor they hire, it's an artist who designs that gun, that sword, that character, everything the artist is doing. Because technically artist is an actor there. And it's changing slowly, but it is changing. I must say it is changing. So yeah.
Hopefully, yeah. Well, so this is Octane.
Oh.
Yeah. So this is real-time rendering.
Yeah.
Real-time or not.
Yeah, the Octane is something I have to try more.
Yeah. It's definitely it looks very nice, you know, like just the way the lighting presents itself. It's it's just something really nice about it. And yeah, I guess it's a pleasant to look at. It's just pleasant to look at. With Keyshot, right? It has.
I have feeling it's much crisper but softer at the same time. That kind of feeling I have when I look at the Octane. Keyshot can make it a bit generic and digital. You know how it does, and it needs fine tuning, as we talked. A lot of fine tuning sometimes. And this, I have a feeling like you dropped it in and that's it, pretty much. You know.
Oh, that one.
Your screen just died.
I'm just gonna open up some more Horizon stuff. But yeah, it's not super easy. I guess you can kind of just drop it in, and then it's all good. But it does take a bit of finesse. You have to tune the lighting, especially. Well, I like to tune the lighting, get a real nice lighting setup, and try and get all the edges catching, just right amount of light, and just tune it. And because I think what people don't realize, it's like you're painting with light, right, and materials. Rendering is this really, it's like a real fun thing to do, and to give life to your design. And I think a lot of people don't spend enough time on rendering. They just go, chuck it in render, like do this and do that. And they're just like, well, I mean, you spend all this time working on it and designing it, right? What about spending time on lighting it and getting it to look great and really? But people don't, like you see so many designs where
the quality is insane, but it's lit and bad. I know when I put 2 days more of effort, and like literally looks like a masterpiece, literally compared to the render when I just drop in the lights. Like it's insane quality of difference, but people really don't spend enough time. I completely agree with you. But there is no time in the industry. When you're designing something, there is no client that will let you light something for 2 days.
Oh, well, I would say for personal work, this is all like personal, because I think you're essentially, when you do put personal work out there, you should probably be, like, I see a lot of personal work. It's not lit very well, and it's one of those things where I could probably look at 20 of your renders, but if you catch me by one, I'm going to look at that one, right? Yeah. And that's going to impress me more than the 20 things. And especially, I think especially if you're like sitting there and you're like kitbashing things and just chucking things together and stuff like that, you I don't know, you get through that thing, and you look at like someone's painting and it looks really nice. And I think I did an artist spotlight on one of the guys, and just the way he was lighting things, each picture will capture you, and kind of like you want to drag people in, and that's why
it gives character. It gives a lot of character, to the image. Yeah,
I'll start sharing again.
Let's do that share, and then we wrap it up after that.
All right, sounds good.
It has been a pleasant 1 hour and 15 minutes. I'm enjoying it quite a lot, to be honest. Okay.
I got to load these up. ZBrush is pretty amazing, to be honest. Like, if you think about how many subtools it can handle.
Yeah, but also what's fascinating, it crashes, and then you turn it on immediately, like which other softwares can do.
Yeah.
Oh, look at this.
So this is like a wolf thing.
Oh, I love this so much. I love it so much.
The weird thing is I actually hate it.
Really? Look, I love how it's position down. Yeah, I love it. I really love it.
I think I have a different relationship. With a lot of my work, I probably only like maybe 10% of it, to be honest, like 10-20%. But yeah, I think it's one of those things. But
pain of being an artist.
Yeah. So where's the mouth here? I'm just trying to remember all the things I have done.
How many details is there? This is insane. Like,
yeah.
How long did you work on this, Wolf?
I think maybe 2 to 3 weeks on this thing.
Yeah. Okay.
So, like, I think I was averaging 12 days to 21 days, I think.
Per
so,
piece.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm averaging. So,
yeah.
There's a really, I think I could probably load it up, but I've got another one here. I like this one.
What is this that? The bear?
It's a bear. I like this one. For some reason, I just like this one more. Oh, what's happening with my rotation?
He does. Oh, yeah. This one is even better. This one is even better.
Yeah, there's something about this one I like more, like the neck.
There is something really, really cool about this one. Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those things. I would, to do this stuff again, it would be interesting how you would go about it. But yeah, I think you could do it now. You could dynamesh it and then get a Z-remesher of it, and go through and do a nice polymodeling pass over it. Because
it would take ages to polymodel that. Like it would take ages.
Yeah.
Like I think it would take 1 month to just remodel it. I'm not joking when I say that.
If you had a group of skilled polymodelers, you got them all trained together. That's it. If I was going to do that, I would get everyone trained up, and we'll get consistent with our style, and go, we're all going to work like this, and just have 5 people working away, and you could do it.
5 people can do it in 2 weeks, I think. 5, maybe 10 days. 10 days they can do it. But yeah, I don't think the people realize how much there is of polishing when you give a piece to it. But there is also one more thing which is quite funny to me. We designers are pushed to design something super fast, and then they give it to 3D artists, and they do it 2 times more than us. And like, what the hell? Yeah. What the hell is this? Like, so yeah.
Yeah, it is funny. I wasn't envious of the people who had to rebuild these things and clean them up and stuff like that.
Poor people. Wait, your screen is a mess. I don't know why, but
is it?
It's translating. Can you see the stream? It's translating as a mess. Like the screen is good, but something is the lag, I think.
Let me stop and refresh. Is it?
I think
I'll turn it on and off.
I think the Skype blew up like literally.
Yeah, it runs pretty slow on the PC.
Yeah, now it's working. Yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So this is a bird thing.
Yeah. It's like
I was definitely
like a drone,
what was that?
But that flies. It's like a drone, but that flies. Yeah.
I was definitely like improving as I was working because doing the Dynamesh stuff, it was pretty new to me still. And so I kind of was caught with my pants down. They asked me for it, and I'm like, I'm still a bit new to the whole. It was the very last designs were the ones that were getting better, and I was
but
really
it's really hard to make that kind of pieces, like the small ones. It's really hard to dynamesh them. Like how do you do that? Like you're really careful while you're doing it. You zone out. Totally. Yeah.
Well, you got to be really careful. You got to do a lot of mesh extraction, and it is a head fuck at times. But once you get the workflow down, like doing the cage and stuff was a bit of a mess. Like getting the cage, trying to get the rough cages and things like that.
That's like I can imagine. Like, can imagine how much it took you.
And you're trying your best to get enough detail in there, and trying to, when you zoom out, you're trying to see what you see, what looks neat, does it look too messy? It is tricky because you're trying to make this thing, if you came in and you kit bashed it, it would look like a kit bashed, right? And this would have a frame. It's organic in a way, right? It's like a grown machine, and that's how I kind of looked at it, a grown type of machine. And so yeah, as if it was growing and as if it mechanically grown, and so everything has to have that type of that feel to it, and without that, it's really tricky. This one's pretty cool.
Yeah,
This is
I know this one. I know this one.
the penis one.
Again, the Skype is lagging. Again, the Skype is lagging. I don't know
Yeah,
why. Let's turn it on. Turn it on.
All right, here we go. But yeah,
Yeah, this one is really cool. Really, 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 really cool.
the head used to be a lot smaller though. Like there's little changes, and I think the tail was a little bit different. And so when you're having to do these things, you have to yeah, like I learned a lot, like designing all like these little things, these details, and trying to like I forgot that I have detailed like this before, and I guess with everything new, I just try and do new type of detailing for things, and
Yeah.
but yeah, it's everything everything had to like come off, and so you had to build underneath it.
Oh yeah. Okay. Okay. This is next level stuff. Yeah. Look how look how
Yeah,
many pieces inside. Like.
So I had to because they give me like a really rough block out, and so what parts would fall off, and so I had to like build within that type of sense. So like these would fall off.
Did you build it inside out or outside in?
Outside in.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
yeah. So I would so if I came in here, I would go like that, and I'd trace, so have an idea of the framing, and just do that, and then I'll do an extract. I'll just extract that detail,
Yeah.
and that's how I started doing the framing. And then I'll go in and turn the back face mask on and just go in and tune it like that, give it some thickness. And yeah, you just start to make a frame and you push it in, and that's how I did that.
Yeah.
It's a good trick.
It is a really good trick.
You can see.
ZBrush is same as Blender, full of surprises always.
Oh yeah, it is. You don't even know like half the things. You have to. One of the things that most people don't do is sit down and read a manual, and I'm probably pretty guilty of that.
I don't think anybody ever read the manual, to be honest. Like.
I believe Vitaly does.
Yeah, probably. During his sleep, he plugs it in. But
that's something that I'm gonna definitely do. I'm gonna sit down and because I want to learn more, and I'm gonna sit down, and because I think that's one of those tools you have to sit down and it's got a lot of things. It's not everything is apparent when you boot it up. So yeah, there's so many layers to this thing. Do you want me? I'll load up one more.
Let's do one more. Let's do one more.
Let me stop that. I'll get the. What do I have a not shown? I could load up the big. I got the giraffe one.
Let's finish it with one amazing one. Let's finish it with the amazing one.
I got two. Have you seen the raptor? Or what is it? What's the big T-Rex?
The T-Rex arm from Horizon Down. Yeah,
I could do.
Let's load that one. I think that would be.
I'll get that one loaded. I'll load two big ones. I'll load the last design that I ever did for them.
Okay.
And I was surprised. Have you seen Death Stranding? Have you played it?
No, I didn't play it, but I've been following it. I think all of us have been following the campaign and everything, but I didn't play it, to be honest. I don't play that many games.
So, yeah, same. Like Death Stranding, how many hours are you going to put into that game? But it's Hideo, he's making like the last of Metal Gear Solid. That was a big time sink as well.
Yeah.
I found, I don't know. I don't like that approach. That's making games too long. I just want to get in and play a game and kind of. It's so much time. You'll never end up playing the game otherwise. Like, can you imagine yourself playing Death Stranding? Like, when are you gonna play it?
No. I don't think I will play it. Yeah, I'm not playing any more games that much, to be honest.
That's what I mean. They make them so long, and so you just want to get in and play a game. And not have this big involvement in spending how many, like 50, 100 hours.
Yeah.
It's crazy. That's a crazy amount of time.
I think we are just old. That's for younger people.
Oh man, people. I don't think age is just a number.
Yeah, yeah,
I think it's we have different priorities. So
true.
all right, I'll show you. So this is the big T-Rex thing.
Oh, yeah.
So I think this might have been maybe the third design I did. So
Yeah, this one is like, whoa.
all right, let's get rid of some of the panels.
Look how many
But
pieces
yeah,
is there. Like, what the hell? This has 100 million polygons or something like that.
will it tell you? Total polys.
Yeah, I
So I
know.
think that's
I'm just counting in my head,
total.
like, look how many of
Okay.
it
It
is. Like,
would actually, I think it would show you that. So, but yeah, it's a lot.
yeah, there is
But
like
there's
insane,
the
insane.
I always liked the mouth. I think they didn't use it. I always
There is
liked this
something
design that I did
special
for.
about it. Yeah, there is something special about it. Very, very different.
So this is what I mean. Like it was grown, that kind of grown mechanical designs, and coming up with a shape language for that. It really took me a while. Like when I first did it, I was like, how the hell am I going to do this? Because it's trying to make something that's grown mechanically in this way. It's really hard because you're following on your old habits of designing things,
Yeah.
and so you're trying to not make it too relatable to real life. Also, there's a little heart in there.
There
Where's
is
the
a
heart?
heart. Oh my God, like crazy, crazy.
So I think they had that on like a gameplay thing. So, and the legs here, these come off.
There is so
Another
many
one.
pieces, so many pieces.
Yeah, it was a nightmare to
I can
try and.
imagine. I can imagine like how much. Oh my God. Especially when you
It
get
was
the
a
feedback on something like this, like what the hell? I need to change everything, you know?
yeah. It's they were pretty good. They were pretty good. Most of the time they're pretty good.
Skype is again getting messy, damn it.
Let
It's
me
again messing
do
the
it again.
picture.
All right.
Working.
All good.
We're all good, all good.
It's a weird thing. All right. But yeah, it's one of those things. But I like the whole. I made this tail. I was pretty happy with these things.
Yeah,
And it's
they're
organic.
I love them also very much.
Yeah. I think this was too. This was probably a little bit too mechanical, and I probably wish that was more. But they wanted these big guns and stuff like that, but they ended up changing them. It is tricky. I think even they would be like, oh, maybe it's too mechanical. So this is the big giraffe. This was
Yeah.
a
This is the coolest design in
dun,
the
dun.
yeah, this is the coolest design in the game. Like there is something magical about this piece. I love it, really, really love it. Like the head especially.
Let me get the right rotation here. This one really taxed me. This was like a real taxing one to do.
I see. I see.
All right, let's have a look at the leg.
Just the leg.
The
How
leg
many
is
pieces it has?
yeah. So the leg here, and you can see the feet.
Yeah, this is like wow,
Mm.
wow.
You gotta try and detail all these things. I like this part here. Probably pretty proud of that thing. Yeah, I can't even remember making that, but a lot of things I'm like, did I make that? I'm like, I must have made it. So,
Kid bash from somebody's bash. Yeah.
but yeah, like coming up with all the shape language and what to do. It is tricky to do.
I know.
All these little things.
I know.
Yeah. It looks easy when it's finished.
Looks very easy, but you can try
Yeah.
and do it. I always say about GNOME on DVDs. There was a Ryan Church one where you do environment, and I watched it. I was like 15 years ago or something like that. It was like that. And I watched it, and it looked so easy. And then I drew it, and it looked like I put splash of colors on the screen, and nothing worked.
Yeah.
But it looked very easy, very, very, very easy.
You eventually get it. You just got to keep trying, right? So it's like almost like a coordination with your brain and what you want with your hands.
It takes only
That's
5 to 10 years, only that much.
I think this day and age with so many people teaching things, you could probably it's like a shortcut almost.
Yeah,
you know,
true,
'cause,
true.
yeah. You can see all like the details here, and I tried to make all this somewhat organic within the surface and keeping it flat. It's really
Yeah.
really tricky to get it flat, and you're trying to get the shape to go around and flow, and all right, where's the rest of it?
Yeah.
Each leg had to be different. I'll delete that leg. I'll get rid of that. Might speed up ZBrush a little bit. But this is another leg. You can see it had to be different. And I'm not sure I think all these panels do come off.
Crazy. Also, for them to optimize all of that to work like craziness.
Yeah. Oh no, I don't think they did come off on this one. This giraffe thing was used in Death Stranding. I was surprised.
Really?
They used, because they had a relationship with the company. I was like looking at a video, and I was like, "That's my design. That's in Death Stranding." I'm like,
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I didn't see that. Crazy.
Yeah.
They should have paid for it. Royalties.
I should have got paid twice.
Yeah, royalties. I mean, that law needs to change soon. I hope it will change in some positive ways.
I hope. I'm definitely going to be asking for royalties on anything big these days, because I'd rather go, look, just pay me in royalties. I don't care. Don't if I know it's going to be a big. The thing is, when they approached me, I thought it was like, what's this crap? I don't think it's going to be anything good. So I was like, what is this?
Yeah, but the person needs to know what he is doing. That's the biggest problem, because there's so many startups that you don't know where they will go. I mean, in this year I worked on 4 of them. They look like they're gonna be huge. They died. And I'm like, man. And then there were 2 that look super small. They're getting big now. And I was like, how do you even know which one's gonna make it?
Yeah, it is. It's one of those things. It's like, but I just didn't realize. I guess I was, just. You eventually learn to start realizing what you're working on as well. You're like, oh, this is actually going to be pretty good, because you're like, you're impressed with. I guess they're giving you good direction. You're doing good work and things like that. So but you can see how I've done all the detailing on here and stuff like that.
Yeah, there is a lot of details, a lot of details.
This is why it's actually not too hard to do this type of detailing. It's just doing it, right? Because
do you have alpha maps for them?
What's that?
Alpha maps for them. Alpha?
No, alphas. I just really basic.
You just do basic and then build it from
there. Look, when I start using alpha maps, it looks like I'm using alpha maps. I don't know, but maybe I don't know. It's one of those things where I use very minor amounts of it. I could probably maybe use more, but I don't know. Maybe I should. I don't know. It's one of those things where I might. I want to respect it. I don't want to. Get into the habit of abusing it. And when I start working, I've tried using alphas. I'm like, oh, that looks just. I don't like it. I just don't like it. I want to be able to almost grow my designs, and this is very much that is. It's like growing the designs. You can imagine if I placed alphas, it'd be like this all looks unique and all looks like it should be there. Yeah. Because it's all modeled and grown into place. And to do this now, I'm much quicker at doing this level of detail. I think anything cleaner than this would take too long, but this type of cleanliness is not too hard because I've got certain brushes to do it. I'm definitely much faster at doing this level of cleanliness. The cleanliness of the vest, that was a nightmare. Yeah, the vested one. That was too.
I can imagine.
That was too difficult. I was an idiot for doing that.
Yeah, so, but you learn from it.
Like I guess with the vest, it's one of those things where I did it and realized, okay, I've bitten too much off. Essentially, I've taken too much on. But then I kind of I fell in love with it, and that's the problem. Once you fall in love with the design and you think, oh, well, maybe I should, I'll just try and finish it. And then you realize, man, this is way too difficult. And so I think with this is the lab technician. You can see this type of stuff. You can do it, it's tricky, but it's possible. You can do it pretty clean.
Yeah, I can.
And
Yeah.
yeah, once you get neater than that, because you can work. You've got certain brushes to do that. This is an alpha. That's an
Yeah.
alpha, and then you're building up, and that will be a mask there. Mask that, and then blurred it, and then pulled it out. And so you're building up forms in really very clever way, and that's the clip. And that would be using a clip around, and when you do like that, and you're clipping like that, and so you're building up forms, you're layering it. And that's what you have to understand. Once you start layering up the design and you're building up the layers, it looks harder than it is, but it's more about planning and getting used to that type of workflow and developing it. To do this, it will get. The first time will be really hard. The second time will be difficult. The third time you'll be a lot easier at doing it. But like to do stuff like this now, I've probably forgotten how I've approached some of it.
Long time ago, yeah.
Yeah, because it was a long time ago, and you'll get back into it and you learn like shapes like this. These are like I can't even remember what I did for that. I think I must have I must have brought them all together, and I would have used a brush and just had a really steady hand. And made sure that's really what I've learned. If you're going to take anything away from it, I've learned to have a really steady hand at doing things, because that's what ZBrush requires you to have a really steady hand.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
Mm.
Which is,
it's just like
with polygonal, it's much easier than that.
Because you got to think about when you're working with clay, and if you say working in real life with clay, you got to have a really steady hand. So this is like an older design I did, and that's you can see how I've been able to
a lot of stuff.
So that's an old
stuff.
This one's probably too busy, right? But you learn, and you're like, well, and you get better at it and not making it so busy. Probably the only things I like is probably the shoes look all right.
I love the legs of it. I love the legs. The legs look the best for me.
Yeah, I like the knees here when they like to get these shapes to work well. It is hard to do it, but once you do it, you almost have that in your library of things you can access. So
mental library for later. You know what couldn't work, what works, where you can pull it, where you can't. Yeah.
But it's that is my work, I guess. That's everything there.
That is insane quality of work. And we can wrap it up with this, I'm sure, because it can get better than this. Like, it's insane quality. Giraffe, everything. Thank you so much for showing it.
That's all good. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you want to learn from me, you can go and check out Gumroad and Patreon. And I'm getting better at doing those tutorials. It's one of those things I wasn't at the start. Definitely wasn't used to. How you sit down and you do tutorials, and you got to like start translating it all, because what is it's in your head, and then you got to translate it to everyone else. So it's a whole different beast doing teaching. It's not easy to teach. I thought it was easy. It's not easy at all.
It's super hard.
It is hard. It's really hard.
Same happened to me with streams. Like, I thought it was gonna be easy, but turns out it takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
So
it's definitely is.
It is hard. Definitely, I agree. So guys, this was another episode of that DARMAR stream, episode 31. That was Mike Andrew Nash with his amazing designs. Amazing. He gave you a lot of input, and I'm really happy that I had him here. Hit the subscribe button if you didn't, because we'll be bringing more guests. And please do check Mike's website, where he can teach you cool stuff to do like this, because I think it is worth the money and it's worth the time, because this man knows what he is doing. Thank you, Mike, for coming.
So good. Thank you.
Have a beautiful night. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful night, or the morning, like here it is the morning, and have a beautiful day, guys. We talk soon. Thank you. Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
See ya.